What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today I'm kind of excited because we've got some new Keyforge cards to be talking about. We've not actually seen many new Keyforge cards over the past week or two. We had a nice big influx, we all got very excited, and then they kind of went away, which is a little bit sad. But there was some Polish cards revealed a couple of days ago, so I think it's time we had a look. Now, Dominic Dabrowski, apologies for any pronunciations I get horrifically wrong in this video, has gone and both posted and translated Techno Beast here, which I feel extremely confident will be called Techno Beast when it is revealed. It is a 4-power, 0-armor, untamed creature with skirmish. That is to say, if it starts a fight, it will not take any damage from the fight. It can start as many fights as it likes. If it is attacked, boo, hiss, etc. If it attacks, it is surviving the fight. Now, one other thing to note here, and I have no answer for you, I'm afraid. I really wish that I did. It is a special rare. Why is it a special rare? What is it partnered with? We have no idea whatsoever. Sorry. But for some reason, it is a special rare, so I look forward to finding out. Maybe there'll be another Techno Beast with an Infinity Gauntlet on his left hand. Left, because it's in the right hand. He's also holding a shard very clearly there in his Infinity Gauntlet. And then maybe that will have elusive. I don't really know, but it sounds like fun. And the skill here, when you reap, you discard a card. If you do, draw a card. The translation we've got here is that you must discard a card. And a cursory check of Google Translate absolutely backs it up. It means it is not an optional thing. Now, the reason it says if you do draw a card is because you might have 0 cards in hand when you reap. If you've got 0 cards in hand, you don't have to discard one, but then you don't get to draw one. And the usefulness here really reminds me of the usefulness of Yerk. You see, Yerk is a card where when you play it, you discard a card from your hand. And there's plenty of times you don't want to discard a card from your hand. But then by the same token, if you discard a card from your hand, you've got one fewer card in your hand. Which means at the end of the turn, when you draw up until you got 6 cards in hand, or however many it is, because you might have other things changing the number, then you draw one more card, which is very good. Remember, on your turn, you can play, use, or discard from your hand any cards of the active house. But if you've got a card in your hand that you want to get rid of that is not of the active house, you can't just discard it. With Yerk you can, and with Techno Beast you can. And one of the really cool things about Techno Beast here is, if you want to attack, you've got skirmish, so you're getting an advantage there. And if you want to reap, you're cycling your hand, so you get an advantage there. And you don't end up in a better position than you started, in terms of numbers. You don't gain a card, you cycle. You get rid of a card to draw a card. But what if you get rid of a card, and then you draw an Untamed card, and you can play it immediately? What if that Untamed card is a key charge that lets you win the game? Yes, I know that's a fairly extreme example, but sooner or later that's going to happen, and that's a thing of absolute beauty. Now, I said you get to draw an extra card at the end of your turn. Remember here, you're not just discarding, you're also drawing. So if I discard some rubbishy Shadows card that I don't want, but then draw a Shadows card, I am not drawing an extra card at the end of my turn. But I am drawing an extra card now, so I think that's probably okay. This has got some legs. Speaking of legs, how about Cronus? Cronus is a lovely logos card. Again, posted by Dominic Dabrowski, but here it is... Well, it's been translated by Ahmed Raza and Jedraz Mazrek. I'm so sorry for these pronunciations. And I've had a look on Google Translate as well, so I think between all of us, we've probably about got it. Now, the thing we don't need translated here is we know that it is bringing in 2 draw enhancements into your deck. We can just see that from the way it's printed on the card. 2 cards in your deck will have extra draw symbol on. Okay, We don't know where they're going to come up. It's completely random, but they're going to be in your deck somewhere. 2 cards in your deck are going to have these symbols on to let you draw extra cards, and that is a very, very nice advantage. So for that alone, we're pretty loving it. Oh, I should mention, it's a 3 power, 0 armor creature, no elusive, no skirmish, etc. So probably safe to say it's not going to be particularly great in any other way. Now, the literal translation of Cronus is, when you play a card with a bonus draw symbol, you may archive the card. Now, we have a couple of different translations here, but Jedrez Mazarek, and David Karpik have both come out and made it very clear. It is you may archive a card, so that is a translation we're going to go with here. And this is good. You know you're going to have minimum 1 card out there that has extra draw symbols on. Remember, Cronus brings in 2 draw symbols, but they are put in randomly. So that means that they could both end up on the same card. So you would have 1 card of a draw symbol, but it would have 2 draw symbols. And because it lets you archive a card, it doesn't say anything else. That means you may archive it from your hand. And if you archive from your hand, it means you cannot archive the cards you just played. Otherwise, play a card of a draw symbol, archive it, play a card, and keep going. You just basically have like infinite draw. Or at least draw an extra card or 2 every single turn. That, or every single logo's turn. That would be a very, very good thing. What you really want to do here is cross your fingers that Cronus gives you this in a deck of a bunch of really good coming into play skills. Something like Helperbot or Urchin. Urchin, when you play it, you get to steal an amber, and Helperbot, when you play it, you can play a card out of house. So essentially what you do is you've got Helperbot, you have it in hand, and then you archive it constantly, ready for when you're actually going to need it. Of course, what you could do here is just constantly be archiving Logos cards. Every time you play a draw symbol, archive a Logos card, and then you've got 1 turn where you can go nuts playing Logos cards. It gets kind of awkward here, because you need to have a card with a draw symbol, and then you need to have another card in your hand that you want to archive, and it all gets a bit weird. But if you've got a bunch of draw symbols, you can start building up an archive. Archive is good. And of course, cross your fingers that you get this in a deck with Eddie, because Eddie makes your opponent's keys cost more for each card in your archive. And if you could somehow get a deck with Cronus and Eddie and a bunch of draw symbols, that would be amazing. And finally, Adaptoid. 4 power, 0 armor. And it again brings in symbols. It gives you a capture amber, a damage, and a draw card. And those symbols, as I've said, will be randomly distributed amongst the cards in your deck, which is quite nice. And what we have here is a lovely skill that says, when you play a card with a bonus symbol, any bonus symbol, not just draw like we saw on Cronus, you may choose one of the following. Either +2 armor, assault 2, or fight steal 1 amber until the end of the turn. Oh, yeah, that's really quite nice, because it really depends on what you want to do here. This gives you a bunch of options. If you're going to be throwing yourself at some creatures and want to make sure you survive, you can go ahead and give yourself +2 armor. Or if you are going against something and you need a bit of extra damage, you give yourself Assault 2, such that you deal 2 damage before the fight happens. And if you're against a 1 or 2 power creature, you can give yourself Assault 2 to actually destroy them before the fight happens. Or fight, steal, and amber. And that gives you stealing. This is really good. Like, 4 power 2 armor would be a decent creature. 4 power Assault 2 would be a decent creature. 4 power when you fight Steel and Amber would be a decent creature. What you get here is a choice of all 3. But, and let's be very, 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 very super clear about this, you only get it when you play a card with a bonus symbol, which becomes even more awkward because it's not just having a bonus symbol, it's either having it on a Logos card or having it on a non-logos card that you're allowed to play during a logos turn. Or, I suppose, having a way to use Adaptoid on a non-logos turn. I don't know, let's say Dominator Bauble. Dominator Bauble lets you use a creature, and it doesn't have to be in Dis, and I would suggest it would be a bit of a waste of a card if you used a Dis creature. So, if you played a card with an enhancement, or just a bonus amber, any kind of bonus symbol, with Adaptoid on the field, you would then be able to use Dominator Bauble to use it, and you would have one of those extra bonuses. But the point is, there are going to be plenty of decks with Adaptoid in that don't have bonus symbols in logos, and it essentially just brings in those symbols. Having said that, it still brings in a capture, a damage, and a draw symbol, so I think for those alone, we got to kind of like it. These are interesting cards. I really want to know why Techno Beast is a special rare. Hopefully we'll find out rather soon. For now, I want to find out what you think about these cards, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk Keyforge and Digimon and Pokemon and all kinds of fun games. And do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.